Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Adams Brothers Podcast. We are streaming live here on YouTube and Facebook simultaneously.
Welcome, everyone.
Welcome, everyone. We are joined here this evening with the new City of Deerfield Beach Parks and Recreation Director, Mr. Greg Warner, and we're going to be asking Mr. Warner some questions here today, and some of the questions that you all have been asking us. So, Mr. Warner, welcome to the Adams Brothers Podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be here, and I look forward to our discussion.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day and your schedule to come over here and talk to us and answer some of our questions and some questions that members of the public might want to know as well. So, Mr. Warner,
put our information up too.
Why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us all about you, your education, where you grew up, and all of the good things you want the people here in Deerfield Beach and Broward County to know about you.
Okay. Again, my name is Greg Warner, and I am originally from the Buffalo area, a small rural town between Buffalo and Rochester in New York. Grew up there, went to college at Bethany College in West Virginia and received my bachelor's degree from Bethany College. And during my time at Bethany, I played on the college basketball as well as the college baseball team for the school. So enjoy athletics, enjoy recreation very much. After college, chose to get into the recreation field, and my first experience, and I'll talk about the last, it's probably 30 years of my career. I started out in Broward County, working for Broward County Parks and Recreation as a manager 2, and then a manager 3, working at a variety of parks. One of those being Quiet Waters Park. So I've been in the Deerfield area, working as well with Broward County. And from Broward County, I went to the city of Tamarack, starting out as the recreation superintendent, and then being promoted to the assistant director, and then finally to the director of Parks and Recreation in Tamarack in 2005. So served in Tamarack for about approximately 24 years.
Wow.
And from Tamarack, that is when I saw the opportunity in Deerfield and thought it to be a great career enhancer, a larger city, a variety of different responsibilities, those types of things, a great growth opportunity. So happy to be here in Deerfield Beach.
Well, welcome aboard, and
That's
you
right.
certainly bring a ton of experience here from the county over to Tamarack, and now over here to Deerfield Beach. And we're lucky to have you here in Deerfield Beach, and we know you're ready to hit the ground and start running, or you already have. And we just wanted to sit here and today and just ask you some questions and talk about some things that the community in this community and the city overall has been for years. We've been asking for, and we believe that the city is moving in the right direction. They've been looking at different things and different sites and different areas. One particularly being the one I've been, advocating for so very much is the amphitheater. Boca Raton has one. Pompano Beach has one. Parkland has one. I believe Tamarack has one off of Commercial, a little small one. The city of Sunrise has one. Just about we're surrounded by amphitheaters, and Deerfield Beach is the only one that doesn't have one, and we believe that it's much needed. The community, the city, believe that an amphitheater is here, and we would like to know if the city is going to continue looking for areas and locations to possibly put an amphitheater. And I know it's a lot of work. You can't just put it up in a year. There's a lot of work behind that. So will the city be looking at possibly bringing an amphitheater here to Deerfield Beach?
I think you put that perfectly when you talked about looking for areas. And as you're aware, Deerfield does have very limited open space left over, and we're consistently looking. One thing I'll bring up, and there's been discussion lately about Pioneer Grove and that location around Pioneer Park and those types of things with that redevelopment. So an amphitheater was talked about with that, but there has not been any final decisions on that. There's going to be a lot of public input. But I think if they can work that in there, and like you said, we had one in Tamarack. It's great to have that ability to put on performances in the parks and not have to lug the big stage out there and all of that type of thing, have that set location. So as I said, there's hasn't been anything definitively decided upon, but that's one of the elements that they are looking at for Pioneer Grove.
Yes, and we talked to our Commissioner Ben Preston. We brought that up to Mayor Gantz when he was on here on the podcast. We also mentioned that to City Manager David Santucci, the other commissioners when we saw them out in public, and they're well aware of what the people and the taxpayers here in Deerfield Beach is asking for and would like to see come here to Deerfield Beach. And again, we know it's a lot of planning, and there's a lot of things that goes into it, and people are aware that it's not going to just pop up overnight. So I want to touching on that too.
Yeah, if I could just add one thing to that, and coming into Deerfield and talk about being a fairly new employee with Deerfield and being fairly new with the Parks and Recreation Department, there's a really nice park system in Deerfield Beach. The sustainability of that and the planning for the ongoing park system is very important. So one of the things that we have in the 2025 budget proposal is to have a Parks and Recreation system-wide master plan completed, which would give us about a 15 to 20-year plan for all those locations, look at potential sites for additional park locations, those types of things, as well as look at the programming. And that's something I'll probably refer to throughout the interview with a lot of these questions, because that's a great planning tool that we want to get going with right away in fiscal year 25.
Is it possible that you could work with the county? Because and let me just back up a little bit. I went to an event last year. No, it was earlier this year, and it was at an amphitheater west of Boca Raton. I believe it's out near Glades Road, way out west. I forget the name of the amphitheater. Way out west.
South County Regional Park.
I believe that's what it is. Yes.
Yes.
And it was a beautiful amphitheater, and it was facing the water, and it was at just a perfect location. And I immediately thought, if they can't find a location in Deerfield over near the Pioneer Grove area, can they get with Broward County and maybe find an area inside of Quiet Waters facing the water, kind of like that, and kind of, team up together and find a location with Broward County to put it inside of Quiet Waters?
I like that idea. I can definitely speak with Broward County.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, because that's just a thought.
That's just a thought that I have been brainstorming about myself, and
because we know the land is is very few here now. Deerfield is almost built out, so that was just a thought.
That's a nice option. I have that down.
Okay. And the second one, my second question would be would be a cultural arts center. Now, Pompano Beach has one, the Ollie Cultural Arts Center. Again, we understand that the land is limited here, but we do know that the old East Water Treatment Plant that's an old plant that's no longer online. That's an option to possibly put a cultural arts center there. Maybe you could across the street is an old storage tank that I'm not sure if they still use it, but if they don't, that could be used for like maybe a parking garage or something like that. But we'd like to also see if we could bring a cultural arts center here to Deerfield Beach. And What are your thoughts on bringing a cultural arts center here to Deerfield Beach?
That's a huge undertaking, and the cultural arts centers that you brought up, I've been to each one of those, and they are beautiful facilities, and they are well used. I To tell you the truth, since I've been with Deerfield, that's not something I have had any conversations about or heard conversations about, but that's something that we can visit with the consultant when we have our master plan done. That thought or that idea within the planning for the future with Deerfield.
Okay. And we understand that that's not going to happen again for the viewers out there watching, that these things are not going to happen overnight, and they're just being thought about right now. So these are the questions that the community and the people that live here in this city ask us. So we wanted to pass those questions along to you. So those were my first two questions for you, Mr. Warner. I'm going to let my brother, move on with his questions. Thank you.
Yes, Greg, how you doing? Wayne Adams. We had former director Terry Grenard on last year, and she talked in detail about the basketball courts at the Ovita McKeithen Center being covered. Everyone has been asking, I mean, even from my dad has been asking, everyone has been asking, when is the basketball court going to be covered with the covers that we see at a lot of the other parks? And just wanted you to touch on that.
That is something that we have in the capital improvement budget, and that is scheduled for, I believe it's 2025 in the 25 budget for that, and that will help as well, as we are looking at making some other improvements to that area as well within Ovita. One of those being replacing the field lighting for the football field, and then also looking at some grants to try to replace the grass surface with a turf field on that football field. But the basketball court covering is budgeted, or I say it's identified in the capital budget. The budget still needs to be approved for next year.
Yes, and also, Mr. Warner, the track field, the community has been, I mean, it was just talk, and we even asked Tara Renaud about this last year too, and she told us that it was, it had been discussed, but we, here, I want to see action. I believe in action, and besides just having football, we would love to have, and I talked to my commissioner about it, and he did say, it's been preliminary talks, but I want to hear it from you about putting a track field around the current Wardell Chance football field at the Ovita McKeithen Recreational Center. I think that would be a great asset for this community for when football starts back again, where we can get the kids into not just football, but also track and field. And also the parents can be out walking around the track while their kids are out practicing football or whatever. But is that budgeted right now for the 2025? Would that be the master planning?
Capital budget improvement, would that possibly be added in?
That is not budgeted, and one of the things I can tell you about that, and we visited this in Tamarack with placing a running track in one of our parks, and the amount of space that is needed. And I did a walkthrough of the football field the other day just to kind of visualize what that would take, and the current footprint of the football field would not allow for the space for even a four-lane running track. And the difficulty, what I can say, the difficulty is the location of the light poles, the location of the restroom and concession building, and then even with the seating around there, where you have the bleachers and things, it would be a difficult fit to place anything in there without having to move those things and still maintain the full size football field. So that's one difficulty with that. And one thing that I do want to look in, it's not currently budgeted. I want to place it in. I'm big on just like you talk about the fitness for the children, fitness for the families, those types of things. One of the things that I do want to explore for Oviedo McKeithen is a multi-purpose pathway that would surround the entire park. So even the back baseball fields, and then the multi-purpose pathway, I think we could get that to wrap the like two sides of the football or three sides of the football field and then go straight back. And that would be, when I talk about multi-purpose, it would be a 6 foot wide pathway that would accommodate bicycling, joggers, walkers, those types of activities to keep that in. And I do know we currently, with the PAL program, run a track and field program at the middle school track in that park. And I know that doesn't address the football players, but we do have some other thoughts on that. But I don't believe that a track around the football field would fit there.
Is there any area in that park area over
the back football field?
Yeah, where we can get one at? I mean, it would be nice to have it in the front where the football field at, but is it laying over in that area where we can get it? Because I think we need that very badly, if you ask me, because that'll give the kids something to, I mean, if you look at current sports right now, track and field, especially since the Olympics and way before, always has been popular. In the 70s, we used to have a track team here when I was a kid. Somehow or another it dissipated, and it was never ever thought of being brought back again. But my question again, is there any land over there in that area where we can get a track field at for the community, for the kids, for everyone, for Deerfield?
Well, we can definitely look at that. I don't believe that even those two baseball fields together would be large enough for a full size track. I mean, maybe an abbreviated size. But I'm going to go back to the master plan, and when we do that needs assessment portion, there's going to be a lot of community surveying. There's going to be a lot of community face-to-face input, and those are the types of things that we'll want to hear during that process for the planning of the parks and the future of the parks. But again, with the track team, we do currently have one at the middle school, and I know it's not right there, but there is a program there as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
For the time being, please.
Also, this is a question here that I think has been asked over and over and over and over and over again, and it's even to me as a longtime Deerfield resident, I can't figure it out. We have a local promoter here, right here, that's right from Deerfield, named Travis Gamage. They call him T-Dog. He's putting on fall festival shows, promoting shows in the city of Pompano Beach. He's right here from Deerfield Beach. I know you're new here and you might not be able to answer, but I like to find out, how come Deerfield Beach is not using Travis Gamage to bring that type of entertainment here to Deerfield Beach? He's right in our backyard, but he has to go to Pompano, and he's bringing artists, Mary J. Blige and all. Not Mary J, but he's bringing all kind of
Freddie
artists.
Jackson and R&B, local. I mean, not local, but R&B.
Yeah, national acts to Pompano Beach, and I'm trying to understand as a resident and as a taxpayer, and most of the people too, how come the city of Deerfield Beach is not using Mr. Gamage to bring those same acts in? I know it's a financial cost in that, but I want to know, how come he's not being used here in Deerfield Beach, and how come he has to go to Pompano Beach just to just to bring those acts here for us. We have to leave Deerfield and go to Pompano just to see that. And he's a promoter right here in Deerfield Beach.
I just have a question before I answer that. Do you know, is he being hired on by Pompano Beach or contracted with Pompano Beach, or is he going in and putting on his own event?
He's an independent promoter,
Right.
and he does get some funding from the city of Pompano Beach. I believe he is an independent promoter.
Right. Yeah, because I did look into a little bit to try to get some history on our side. I do know that Mr. Gamage has contacted the city in the past to put on an event. He was provided with the information as far as our putting on special events in the city and going through that process. And then we did not hear back at that time. So I don't know if there's just a disconnect or what. He can feel free to reach out to us, and we can
had him on here and
communicate that.
Yeah, we had him on our broadcast. He called in a few times, and he's frustrated too as a resident here. He's frustrated, I guess, too from the business aspect of it, of why the city has been reluctant. And I don't know, maybe it's something we don't know, but he goes to Pompano and he put on some great shows. He got a show coming up here in November called the Fall Festival, but it's a shame that we can't get him to put on acts and bring that same type of entertainment here to Deerfield Beach, even if it's nothing but once a year.
Well, that's why the amphitheater is important, because he has it at the amphitheater,
right,
in Pompano, outside in the park. Well, actually, he's moved from the Pompano Beach Amphitheater out to the park area, and he's been holding it there for the last year or so. This will be the second year.
I'd be happy to speak with him if he. I don't know if he's.
I thought he was in the chat.
If someone can pass my information along to him, feel free to have him reach out to me, and we can discuss it further.
We'll make sure we get him your contact information. And while I'm at it, we have a few comments here. Ryan Reckley said, "I used to work part-time with Greg. Great guy." So I don't know if you remember Ryan Reckley.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, he worked in our fitness center in Tamarack.
Right. He's watching. And Dr. Sherman Mars said, "Will members of District 2 be included in the master planning group? If so, how will the group members be selected?"
So there won't be any group members. The needs assessment we'll set this up with the contractor, but there'll be multiple methods of collecting data. So one will be a statistically valid survey that will set a minimum that we want the contractor to get from the residents. So that'll be a random survey going out to probably I would say maybe 5,000 to 10,000 people. Residents. There'll also be online surveys done through the city, but we'll also have focus groups. And when you have different groups within the city, we could do a District 2 focus group, and that would be open to any District 2 residents. So there's multiple ways, and then there'll be general community meetings where we'll have a gathering of anybody that wants to come.
Okay, and another question: the Ocean Pearl Motel, the Parks and Recreation budget for fiscal year 2025 is $21.7 million. This is a 32% increase versus the actual fiscal 2023 numbers. What are the taxpayers getting for this large increase, and will this trend continue? That's from
Ocean Pearl Motel.
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I can have a listing of what the increases are this year, and a large amount of that there's from 24 to 25. There's about just a little bit over a $2 million increase. And one of the things that the city is doing this year in the budget is they're taking out where a general account would pay for, say, the water. There was one general account that covered all the city departments for their water. This year coming up in 25, they're taking those out and putting them back to the departments. So with just water and trash hauling being placed in our budget. It's just being transferred from another part of the city budget into the Parks and Recreation budget. That's $840,000. So when you talk about water for our department, it's a large amount because we have the irrigation throughout the city,
Right.
all the water in the parks. There is also, they did the same thing with insurance allocation. So when we insure our buildings, when we insure our parks, our amenities, those types of things, the city insures all those, and that's being moved out of the general risk fund, and it's being placed in the department fund, and that's over $300,000. So there's two large increases that account for over $1 million in increase, and then we're also the master plan. Is it's estimated at a $250,000 tool. So that master plan will be in that range as well. And then one of the initiatives that I have as director, and we're trying to move towards more of a program focused department. So classes, programs, those types of things. We want to increase those in our facilities. So we're increasing our budget for instructors and things of that nature by about $75,000. So those are a few of the increases. And then along in maintenance, we have another $300,000 increase for herbicides, pesticides, and then having a contractor take over some of the landscaping that is done in the Cove parking lot and those types of things that is creating a lot of staff overtime, but we can do it more efficiently with a contractor. So those are a few of the things that
good information to know too.
Creating that increase.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. Good information to know.
Some people wanted to know some of the breakdowns. That's not everything, but there's a nice
breakdown of what you gave. Yes.
What you gave.
Right.
So thank you for that. Also, Karen Shelley said, would you explain the process that took place and determining the parks renovations over the past few months and the way that the resident input, including ideas from the kids, helped shape the ultimate decisions? Community-driven projects like those are exciting to see come to fruition.
Yeah, and I think what Karen's talking about with the parks, we've just had two playgrounds renovations approved by the city commission. One being at the villages of Hillsborough, and the second being Crystal Heights North Playground. And what we've done is we've gone out and we've come up with some conceptual ideas. We go out and we present that to the community and different public meetings, and then gather their input. And I can tell you with villages, we had probably about 30 to 35 people along with their kids show up for that meeting. And we went from our conceptual design that we brought and ended up doing a full redesign with another contractor to get to where the residents wanted. So it's been a very valuable instrument for us to going out into the community. And that's one thing that we want to do. We want to listen to the community and give the community what they want. So it's a perfect example of that.
That's always a good thing to do.
Yes.
Always ask the community.
Exactly. And that's going to lead me to another question too.
Right, go ahead.
Here about maybe a month ago, I got a call. I got not just one call. I got numerous of calls one night about 10 o'clock at night about a gate being put up in the parking lot of the Oviedo McKeithen Center, a recreational center, where the gate was. And I rolled by, I got the calls. I just kept getting calls. I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. I got in my vehicle 10 something at night and rolled up there, and I seen the gate actually in the parking lot. It was a fold together gate and it was closed. I would just like to know who made that decision to put the gate out there, and why was that decision made?
Okay, I'm very glad you asked that question. That was mine along with staff's decision to propose that gate and put that in there. We have held since I've been here 2 cafe engagement meetings where residents have come out. And one of the things we heard in the first cafe engagement meeting was that there is some less than desirable activities going on in Oviedo after the park is closed. So the thought process, and this is the same way we did it in Tamarack and most places that I've worked, is that if you keep vehicle access open to that parking lot or those parking lots to any park, you're letting people know, you're almost inviting people in there. So the idea was to have those gates and be able to lock those gates at closing time. So when the park is closed, the vehicular access is closed off to the park. And if people want to, I mean, obviously people can still walk in, those types of things, but the overnight parking or the late night parking, we've had some reports of less than desirable activities in there. So that's the story behind the idea for the gates, but it would just be closed during closing hours.
For the people that don't know, what are the park hours? So the people that may think the park stays open 24 hours a day, could you just let them know what are the park hours? Not only for this park, well, I guess right. the parks, the hours are uniform throughout the city. What are the park hours?
So they're uniform. There's 2 different types of parks. So we have the middle school park and we have Oviedo that has athletic fields. So with those, they have field lights, they have activities that may go on a little bit later. So those parks, when activities are happening, there's activity on the football field, it will be a little bit of a later closing time. The latest it would close would be 10 o'clock. The second type of park would be a passive park that is not lit, and those are pretty much dawn to dusk. So those are when the sun comes up early in the morning, those get opened up and then they close when it starts to get dark. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead. I want you to finish your point. Yeah. And I just wanted to add on to what we were talking about now with the gate.
Yeah. And with Oviedo, if there's no football game going on, the regular closing hour would be 9 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah. And out there at that park, Greg, I mean, I think the problem that we have here where a lot of people, newcomers, come here and maybe they're not used to, maybe they're not used to seeing people out there at that park. But even when we were kids growing up, people always used to say, me and my brother was out there when we were 18, 19 out there. People always say, oh, they selling drugs. Not us, but people out there. That was always, Greg, people always had that to say. But we used to just be out there and knowing our culture in the Black community, we gather and we'll just stand and talk. Now, I'm not saying nefarious things don't go on out there sometimes, but we heard that same thing 35 years ago. The police used to come run us off the park out there. And that's why when they put that gate out there, it reminded me, it just brought back something of the past where I remember even from kids going to the dance, probably around about 17, 18 years old. It was old Deerfield Beach Police way before most people's time.
Right.
We couldn't even stand in the park out there. The police used to come run us out the park. I mean, they used to tell us we're in the parking lot, in the park with a game going on. They would come tell us if we didn't go in the park, we would be arrested for loitering. So a lot of people,
in a public
park. And we had one officer, I'm not going to call his name, but he's still alive. I saw him here. He's
retired now.
But he used to come out there and he hated to see us out there, Black people. He hated to see us out there in that park. I mean, it drove him crazy to come just see us parked out there. So I'm not saying that a lot of drug activity, or some. I'm not going to say a lot. I'm not saying drug activity don't go
There's
on.
always a few bad.
And that's at every park, not just at the Oviedo McKeelan Park. So people been saying that, Greg, for 40 years. But I think what most people was concerned about was that the commissioner of this district didn't even know about the gate going up at the park. So when people started calling him, he was unaware of the gate that was out there. And I think, and I know you said that conversation came from the cafe. I had never heard that before. I mean, I'm just saying, I've been to some of those cafes, but I had never heard that. And people were just asking, just been asking for weeks, to just when we knew they found out we were going to talk to you. And that was always one of my questions, just to ask, how did that come about? So you explained that came from the cafe. But I would hope in the future, Greg, that when a decision is made like that about something that can be so emotional, that we not just at a cafe, but let's bring that to the district meeting in front of the community, when all the community is there, not just 3 or 4 people, where bring it up and then a decision like that is made. I would just hope in the future that when something is made, especially over here in District 2, I can't speak. I mean, I know that with this one city, but I know here when decisions like that become very emotional here in our community, I just would hope when a decision like that is made again, that the community, it can be brought to the community at a district meeting with Commissioner Preston or whoever the commissioner is in the near future.
Yeah, and I explained my thought process, and I meant no disrespect to anybody by doing that. And I think I learned my lesson with Commissioner Preston calling me that morning, that I will notify in those instances when we're thinking about those types of things. But I appreciate that feedback. It's very helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we know you're new here, and this
Right.
is a new city for you. And hey, nobody's. It's just we always can do things better. Here we're always trying to look and do things better here. There's no knock on you or anything, but people are asking. We just wanted to get some answers for them.
Right.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, and thank you. A couple of more questions, and then I have one more question. Who was involved in the development of the master plan? Where is the community input?
That's what I was talking about with the needs assessment portion. So we'll have a series of community meetings. We'll have the statistically valid survey, as well as surveying on the city website. So there'll be a series of different meetings and methods.
Yeah.
Right. And Mindful Moments podcast, I don't know who that is, but can Greg share more about what specific purpose the gate serves and how he plans to measure its effectiveness?
Good question.
Well, we've been directed at this point not to close the gate, so that parking lot will remain open at this point. And like I said at the beginning, with the gates, and through my experiences at different parks, and we do have other parks within the city where we can gate off the parking lot, we do. And it's both a safety issue as well as a security issue. And the thought process behind it, if those gates or those parking lots are open, in my mind, if I was going to another city and I saw the gates open, I would think that park was open and available to me. And that doesn't mean people can't go out and walk around the park, but we're not inviting them in when there's not sufficient lighting for safety and those types of things. So it's more just for lack of a better term, a certain control for both safety and security.
And in the 2025 capital improvement budget, I heard you mention that they're going to be improving the lighting on the football field.
Yes.
And I'm sure you've probably heard about the lighting up and down 10th Street and Dixie Highway and Federal, that the copper thieves or whatever they're stealing all of the the metals out of the light, the street lights. And if you notice, 10th Street and Dixie Highway, they're all in the dark right now. So if we put up these new lighting out at Oviedo McKeithen, will these lights, will the lighting or the wires or whatever, however they put that wire in, will it be available for the thieves to get to? Will it be easily accessible for them, or will you all make it harder for them to get to?
We will make it as hard as possible. We would not leave those accessible. And the contractor that we will have doing this is familiar with those types of activities. It happens nationwide.
Yeah, it does.
With the copper and all that. So they have come up with some elements. Most of the wiring for those field lights is within the concrete posts.
Okay.
So,
and that's good. And my final question for you, I know my brother might have another one before we let you go. The Dixie Highway beautification. I know you all have put in nice, beautiful landscape from Hillsborough all the way to Southwest 10th Street. And I believe the next phase, correct me if I'm wrong, will be from Southwest 10th Street to Southwest 15th Street and ultimately all the way down to Sample Road. When will the next phase from 10th Street down to Southwest 15th Street be starting up? Or when will they start doing the beautification there?
So there's a few elements with the beautification, and a lot of this is done through I'm trying to find the information, is done through environmental services. But some of the things that are going to be happening along that stretch is there's going to be fencing, swale improvements along the railroad tracks. So that's one element of improvements in fiscal year, or not fiscal year, but in 2026, the Florida Department of Transportation is going to be installing some thermoplast crosswalks, and they're similar to the ones on Hillsborough Boulevard. Okay. And there are also going to be some lighting improvements done there over the next couple of years along that stretch. As far as Parks and Recreation goes, in the medians and things, we will be doing some sodding there. We have we're budgeted each year to improve certain medians. So I would see that most likely in fiscal year 26 to do a full renovation of the medians on that stretch.
Will there be some garbage cans added on there? I think I asked a question before the city manager, because they only have garbage cans on the west side of the road of Dixie Highway. I walk and I exercise up and down Dixie Highway. That's my normal route that I exercise on. And I know going north, there's garbage cans on the west side of the road, but when you cross over
to the east,
and I always walk up to Hillsborough, and then I cross right in front of the Boys and Girls Club, and I go to the east side of the road there, or on the sidewalk, and then I walk south back to my home, but there are no garbage cans on the east side of Dixie. So that's my question, and will there ultimately be some like, you don't have to put 5 or 10 of them, but maybe one or two, maybe that'll help alleviate some of the trash being thrown as people walk down there. And I know a lot of the trash is being thrown from people going to Pompano to Boca to work in the morning, and vice versa, but Boca down to Pompano. But that's my question. Will there be any garbage cans added on the east side of Dixie, on the sidewalk, near the sidewalk?
I can't provide you an answer right now, but I will ask that question tomorrow and check on it for you.
Yeah,
I can let you know.
Thank you. We'd appreciate it.
Okay, Greg, I'm gonna try to get these questions out the way and read a few more questions in the chat, and we'll wrap it up with you to get you out of here. Greg, what is the opening date for the Tigner Center? Because I know people right now are ready to go and just can't wait till it open. I know a few people have been asking me, what is the opening date? If you can provide us with an opening date, a projected opening date, we'll be fine, because I know, like I say, a lot of people ready to have a program hopefully by October, and they were just hoping that will it be finished and open by October.
They aren't the only ones looking forward to that opening. I've been anxious over the last 2 months. So we do have a date for the grand opening event, and that will be going out to the community. We're looking at September 21st.
Great.
And that would run from 10:30 to 1:30. We'll have a grand opening event for the Tigner Center. And
when can you start making reservations?
Pardon?
When will the community, be able to start reserving it for actual use after September 21st? Yes.
Yeah, well, we're looking at
you announce it.
The second week in September. We'll start taking reservations.
Okay, the second week.
Yes, we will, definitely.
Okay, thank you for that. That is very vital information. And Sherman Morris asks in the chat, which is a good question, which definitely was one of my questions. What is the programming plan for the new Tigner Center facility for children and adults? What kind of programs do you see projected to go in that center? Because I like to see, Greg, that center full all the time with programs. I mean, a lot has been put in that, and I think, man, the sky's the limit over there at that Tigner Center.
I think music lessons, and if Deputy James Nichols has a DJ program that he currently runs over at the fire station over on Federal Highway, I think that would be an excellent place to relocate it from the fire station out to the Tigner Center.
And I think you guys are listening at my door, because I've been telling staff that every day, that I want that building filled all the time. So with the programming, and let me give you a brief introduction as far as the types of rooms that we have within the Tigner Center. So we do have a large banquet hall that can accommodate probably 350 to 400 people in that banquet hall. We have as you talked about, we do have a specialized room that would be able to instruct DJ classes, as well as lighting classes for like stage lighting and things of that nature. We have a computer lab that will hold 10 computer stations that we can hold classes in there, a variety of classes, everything from beginner computer to resume writing to working through all the programs within the computers. We have a variety of meeting program space. So those rooms will be available for rent for meetings, small gatherings, as well as programming space for classes and things of that nature. We have a beautiful exercise dance room that has a nice wood floor, mirrored walls. There's ballet bars in there as well. So that will be used for both exercise classes and dance classes. And we also have a teen lounge that teens can kind of hang out. There'll be video games available to them and that type of thing. So those are a few of the rooms. And then also upstairs, there's a large meeting room that can be split into, we have portable walls that can be split into 3 different spaces. So a lot of opportunity there. When we're talking about programming, staff has been working hard to get some things in place. I talked about the dance space. So we're looking at, right now we have booked in there diversity dance, which will offer ballet as well as hip hop dance classes. We'll move the after school program into that facility, summer camp program into that facility. Any school days off, we'll have programs in the facility. Things for the families, family game night to get the community together and have some fun. We have tutoring programs, one in partnership with Community Cares, that will help out our students. Classes such as cheer, self-defense, different fitness classes such as yoga, Zumba. We'll have youth fitness classes as well.
Line dancing.
We're looking into. Pardon?
Line dancing.
Yeah.
Line dancing is one we're seeking. We're seeking that.
There go your DJ right there. There go your DJ for line dancing.
Okay.
He used to do the class at the American Legion Post for over 15 years for line dancing.
I've got it
They all
down.
did it.
We'll be in touch. We're also looking at bringing in a group to do some STEM classes, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics type classes. We're also looking at vocational programming. And like I talked about the computer lab, where we want to do classes on resume writing, how to apply for a job, fill out a job application, those types of things, as well as try to get some vocational skills classes for individuals. And one of the things I'll say about that's kind of an overview of some of the things that we've been looking at so far. This is an area that we definitely need some assistance. So I'll throw it out there. We're looking for a multitude of ideas for classes and programs in that facility. And we can think up a ton of classes, but finding the instructors for those classes is very difficult.
That was going to be my next question too. Yeah, that was going to be my next question about the instructors. What do they have to have? What qualifications do they have to have? Insurance or what do they have to have to? If you, let's say, like I know my friend that used to do the line dance and I used to DJ and she was the instructor, but it was at the American Legion and she didn't necessarily have to have insurance or anything. But being that this is government, what do they need to come into the city of Deerfield Beach at the Tigner Center and to be an instructor at the Tigner Center?
Good question.
In most instances, they would need some type of insurance, and it's dependent a little bit on the class as to the type of insurance. If it's a physical class, an exercise class, those types of things, you would need some insurance coverage.
Just line dancing.
There's a possibility you probably would need some type of insurance, and that's something that we also look at as cities, how we can lessen that blow to the instructor. And work with them to get them active in there. And it is for the instructor, it's an opportunity to earn some extra money as well. We set up a contractual agreement where there's a revenue split for those types of classes.
And I was hoping that the city would at least think about that, because I know it's tough on everybody right now. The economy is not great right now, and there's global inflation going on as far as inflation here in this state, and a lot of people are struggling right now. So hopefully the city will hopefully look at ways that they could bring programs in here and not make them spend tons of money trying to go get some insurance. So hopefully that'll be an option.
Because we know a few people that have been on our podcast. One name is Reverend Gene Townsend. I don't know, you might have talked to him before, but I know right now he offers a free music lessons class right now at his church for the kids. But I know he was on our podcast talking about bringing something. We were telling him about bringing something to the Tigner Center once it get open, and I think that program, that music lesson program, would definitely be something great for everyone.
Agreed. Those are definitely the type of classes we're looking for.
We will definitely give him your contact information. Mr.
Can you provide a number for anyone that
it's in his email is in the chat. I think Rebecca put it in.
Yes, she did. She did put the email. Anyone can contact Greg Warner in the email address that's in the chat. It's going to stay in the chat. So for those,
we'll post it on our website.
Yes,
as well.
we will.
We'll give them your contact information as well.
Great.
Yeah, and I think that's all the questions I have for you. We don't want to keep you on here. We know it's been a long day for you.
Yes,
Mr. Warner, and it was a pleasure meeting you out at Oviedo McKeithen, and we welcome you here to the city of Deerfield Beach. We
heard good things about you.
We heard a lot of good things about you, and we look forward to working with you here in the future. Anytime you need us or you need some input or whatever, you can always reach out to us, and we'll always be right here to help you as much as we can.
And I want to say, when we first met Greg, we were out to me and Daryl was at the MLK Day festivities out in the road when the Bahamian dancers was on the stilts, and Greg just came up to us and started talking to us, introduced himself. So that was very honorable of him to do that, and gave us his card. And that was way back in January. And here we are now in August. So I just want to thank you for coming up to us, talking to us when you just getting here. So thank you for answering all our questions that we had today, honestly, and we look forward to seeing you out there at the Tigner Center. I'm quite sure you're going to be seeing our face, because I'm going to stay out there trying to see what's going on out there.
And we got to get that line dancing class set up. So
yes, we do. That's a big must. We have to get line dancing going back up here. And I saw Rebecca put in the chat there. Yes, I've been a line dancer for many years, 15 years or more. So I know I'm not the instructor, but I do know a lot of the line dancers. So I'm looking forward to getting back out there and get some cardio. So please bring line dancing out to the Tigner Center. And Mr. Warner, if you're just joining us, we've been talking to the city of Deerfield Beach Parks and Recreation Director, Mr. Greg Warner. He graced us to come on our show here this evening. Thank you so much, sir, for answering all of our questions. I know there was some questions that you didn't know about that we read off in the chat, but you answered them very well, and thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We look forward to having you back in the future too.
Yes, absolutely.
Anytime
you want to come on and put out some information to the community, just let us know and we'll get you on.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Mr. Greg Warner. Thank you for joining us, and have a wonderful.
Thank you, Rebecca Medina.
Rest of your evening,
as always.
Thank you, Rebecca.
We love you,
and thank you to the mayor, the commissioners, the city manager. Thank you all for hiring this good guy here, man. And we look forward to doing some big things here in Deerfield Beach in the Park and Recreation Department. Thank you, sir, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.